Hi, this is David Thompson again with DocuTech, bringing you episode 12 to our TRIDCast series. At DocuTech, we commit to being industry innovators in technology, compliance, and overall customer satisfaction. And with that drive, we wanted to know what would be helpful information for our clients with the new TILA-RESPA integrated disclosures. These TRIDCast episodes are a direct response from the feedback we received. In this episode, we will be discussing the loan terms. Today, we're very privileged to have with us Fred Gooch, DocuTech's General Counsel and Vice President of Compliance, and Amanda McMurtry, one of DocuTech's Regulatory Compliance Specialists. Amanda is responsible for helping prepare DocuTech for the upcoming TRID changes and has over 5 years of experience in legal and compliance. Her knowledge has been extremely valuable for both our organization and our clients. A big thanks to both of you for being here today, and without taking up all the time, I'm going to hand it over to Fred.
Thanks, David. In today's TRIDcast, we're going to be discussing the loan terms section of the loan estimate. Now, the loan terms section is the second section that appears on the document. It's directly following the general information section that we reviewed during our last TRIDcast when we were going through the loan estimate. So, let's go ahead and get started and take a look at this loan terms section. Now, this contains the most important terms that the CFPB wanted to make sure that the borrowers understood when they were evaluating the terms of their loan. So the first thing that you see is the loan amount. Now notice here that the loan amount is in whole dollars and that we are not disclosing any cents here. This is in accordance with the rule because we are just giving the borrower an idea of how much the loan amount is going to be. It's not an exact estimate. So we are not disclosing cents on the loan estimate. The next piece of information is the interest rate. Here in this example, you can see it's 3.875%. We're rounding out to 3 decimals as instructed by the CFPB for a loan with an interest rate of this type. The next thing that we're going to disclose is the monthly principal and interest amount. And then you can see just to the left of these 3 items, the loan amount, the interest rate, and the monthly principal and interest, there's a section that says, can this amount increase after closing? Now for this particular loan, this is a fixed rate loan, so none of these amounts are going to be changing. So it simply says no for each of them. But we'll be going through all of the different options as we go through different examples during this presentation. So you can see the next disclosure is whether there is a prepayment penalty. Now this loan does happen to have a prepayment penalty, so you can see some information about the prepayment penalty here. If there was no prepayment penalty, it would simply say no. And then the final disclosure is the balloon payment, whether or not there is a balloon payment on the loan. And this particular table does not have a balloon payment, so it simply says no. Now there could be circumstances where you wouldn't know exactly what the figures would be that you would be disclosing on this table. And so if you don't know what they are at consummation, there are certain rules that you would use, and Amanda is going to review those rules with us right now. Amanda.
If the initial interest rate is not known at consummation, the fully indexed rate is disclosed. A fully indexed rate is the interest rate calculated using the index value and margin at the time of consummation. The initial principal and interest payment amount also would be calculated using the same fully indexed rate.
Okay, so if you don't know, in the circumstance where you've got an ARM, you're going to use the fully indexed rate. That's what you're going to disclose here in these boxes. Like I mentioned before, on this particular loan, you can see under the can this amount increase after closing, in this particular example, they're all no. But if they were to change, you would have yes here, and then you would have other applicable information that would be pertinent to the particular disclosure that's being made in each section, in each box. And simply, like we see in this example, if it cannot increase, it's going to say no. So, one of the first ones that we're going to take a look at here is how you would disclose a circumstance where the loan amount would possibly adjust. Now, take a look at this particular example. This is a negative amortization loan that is an ARM with interest only. And Amanda's going to walk us through how the loan amount adjustment would work in this scenario.
For loan amount adjustments, you're going to want to list the maximum principal balance for the transaction and the due date of the last payment that may cause the principal balance to increase. Make sure the date disclosed is the year in which the increase occurs, counting from the due date of the initial periodic payment. You're also going to want to have a statement whether the maximum principal balance increase may or will occur under the terms of the legal obligation. So looking at our example, you'll see that this loan can increase up to as high as $176,032, and it may increase until year 6 of the loan.
So you can also see here that last requirement that you read, Amanda. It says a statement whether the principal balance increase may or will occur under the terms of the legal obligation. It says that it can increase, not that it will increase. So I think that that means that it may increase for this particular example. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is the interest rate adjustment. Now, for an interest rate adjustment, you have to disclose the frequency of the interest rate adjustment, the date when the interest rate may first adjust, and the date that you're going to disclose is the year in which the increase occurs, counting from the date that the interest for the first scheduled periodic payment begins to accrue after consummation. You're also going to disclose the maximum interest rate and the first date when the interest rate can reach the maximum interest rate. You're also going to disclose and reference the adjustable interest rate table that's going to be on page 2 of the loan estimate for an ARM. So in this particular example, you can see the frequency here. It says that it's going to adjust every year starting in year 2, so the frequency in the first year that it can adjust. You also can see the disclosure of the maximum interest rate. It says that it can go as high as 7%, and it gives the year in which that maximum interest rate can occur, year 10. And then the next thing that you see is a reference to the adjustable interest rate table that will be on page 2 of the loan estimate, and that will give the borrower more details about the terms of the adjustable interest rate for this loan. The next section that we're going to take a look at is the monthly principal and interest section. Amanda.
For the monthly principal and interest adjustment, you're going to want to disclose the scheduled frequency of adjustments, the due date of the first adjustment, and this date disclosed is going to be the year in which the increase occurs, counting from the due date of the initial payment. You're going to want to list the maximum possible amount of monthly principal and interest and the earliest date it can occur. You're going to want to disclose if there is a period during which only interest is required to be paid and the due date of the last periodic payment of such period. And you're also going to want to disclose and reference the adjustable payment table on page 2 for further details. So you can look at our example and see that the frequency, it can adjust every year starting in year 6. It can go as high as $1,227 in year 10, and it includes only interest and no principal until year 6. You can also see a reference to the adjustable payments table on page 2 for more details.
Okay, that wraps up the 3 sections where you have to disclose whether the amount can increase after closing. You're going to put no if none of these apply, or you're going to put yes and you're going to put these disclosures as required in the statute. The last 2 that we're going to take a look at is prepayment penalties and balloon payments. Now in the next example, we're back to the fixed example with the prepayment penalty. So you can see on the table under prepayment penalty and balloon payment, you're going to disclose whether the loan has any of these features. You're going to put yes or you're going to put no. And if you have to put yes, there are additional rules as to what description you would need to place there. So we're going to take a look closer at the prepayment penalty disclosure. Amanda.
A prepayment penalty is a charge imposed for paying all or part of the transaction's principal balance before the date the principal is due. It does not include a waived third-party charge that the creditor imposes if the consumer prepays the loan's entire principal balance sooner than 36 months after closing. If the loan has a prepayment penalty, disclose the maximum amount of the prepayment penalty and the date when the period during which the penalty may be imposed terminates. So if you look at our example, it shows a prepayment penalty of $3,240 if you pay off the loan during the first 2 years.
Okay. And the final disclosure that is on the loan terms table is the balloon payment. Now, if the loan has a balloon payment, you need to disclose the maximum amount of the balloon payment and the due date of the balloon payment. So referring back to our example, you can see that this particular loan does have a balloon payment, and that it is disclosed that the balloon payment will be in the amount of $149,236, and then it will take place at the end of year 7. Now that wraps up all of the disclosures that need to be disclosed on the loan terms table of the loan estimate.
So, Fred, Amanda, if we were to take away one thing from this TRIDCast, if our audience was to bring something with them from this, what would you say that one thing would be?
Well, I think when you look at how you're going to implement these terms and these disclosures into your document and your loan origination system, you need to have a bunch of scenarios that are ready for testing. And you need to be able to walk through each of these scenarios and make sure that your system is accurately disclosing the scenarios as they appear in the rule. Some of them can be quite complex for all of the different variations of changes in loan amount, interest rate, and the monthly principal and interest that can take place in all of your many loan programs. Make sure that the calculations are correct, that you're disclosing the right dollar amounts, that the amounts are rounded, not disclosing cents where appropriate. There are a whole bunch of rules in the TRID regulation about when you disclose cents, when you don't, when you round, when you don't, how you disclose decimal places. These are things that you need to pay very close attention to as you go through and you audit your system to make sure that you're disclosing all of these terms accurately and as required in the rule.
Well, thank you both for being here today, and we definitely appreciate the insight, guys.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.
For all of our viewers, DocuTech would love to answer any of your integrated disclosure questions, so please submit your questions to trid@docutechcorp.com. Our next episode will be on July 28th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, where we will be going through the projected payment tables for the loan estimate and closing disclosure. To learn about DocuTech, see a previous episode, or get a copy of today's show sheet, visit our website at www.docutechcorp.com. You can also reach a member of our team at 800-497-3584. And again, thanks for watching.